Kenya's biggest conversation is having an affordable housing conversation this morning. And we are joined by the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Charles Hinga. CT has many questions.
Not really. The what Dr. Hinga has explained makes perfect sense. Because if you are asking about, we talk about cost of production. Now, if you talk about the cost of housing, and you understand the role that the government plays, one, in terms of the value and the cost of land, how that contributes to the eventual cost of the house, and then you look at the government business when it comes to levying taxes and just doing what government does in order to raise revenue. Now, the moment you remove that, it doesn't require too much thinking. That cost will automatically go down. But there's this small matter. When it's a PPP, you're dealing with a private entity whose key mandate usually is to make a little profit. So does that mean that we will cap the profit? Meaning there's a limit to how much profit you can accumulate?
Absolutely. Yes. And before we went on the break, because I need to land. It's important that I land because
always a good thing, yeah.
It's always good to land because sometimes I landed the hard way because in 2018,
yes.
Now Hussein was in government and Citizen,
yes.
took me to the cleaners because I didn't land. And I was known as the lottery man because it was left hanging. So allow me to land.
Please land.
So I still want to let's use the 3 million, which is the higher side of now the affordable housing program. So that we introduce now the housing fund. So government has done all the interventions we have done, from the cost of land to the horizontal infra to taxes. And it's not just VAT. If you're a first-time homeowner, there is no stamp duties. You get a 300,000 a year mortgage relief once you start repaying. When you're saving towards a home, you get an affordable housing relief. There is so many taxes. As a matter of fact, any import that comes in, the cost of import declaration duty is lower for affordable housing. The railway development levy is lower for affordable housing. There is so much the government has done so that we can get to the answer. So we started with the answer and then went back to the unknown. How do you get there?
Right.
Now we've gotten to the answer. Today we have a 3 million unit house. Now let's get to the financing side. Because even if you build that 3 million, is how much will it cost per month?
Yes.
For someone to afford it.
Yes.
Now, I think we've done exemplary well to move it from 11 to 3. But here are some raw statistics. Again, if we leave it to the market. Now I've left 11. Remember, 11 million, the repayments were 153,000 a month. Now, 3 million at the same market rate of 10 years, 14%. It is 47,000
per month.
Okay? 47,000.
Over what period of time?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Because that's what the market is giving you. Okay? So, then you ask yourself, why is government getting involved in the financing aspect of it? It is simply because at 47,000 a month, again, very few Kenyans will afford.
Yes.
So, what did we determine? We said, someone who is earning 50,000, can they be able to pay 15,000 shillings? Can they be able to pay 15,000? Can they be able to pay 10,000? Can they be able to pay 5,000? Okay, because that's what they are paying for those shacks.
Yes.
And that's what they're paying for those tenements. So you're saying, can I put you in the same position that you are in today so that it's not costing you more? But now I can put you in a decent house that you will own. Okay? So to do that, how do you move 47 to 15? You have to alter the financing aspect of it. Okay? And how do you alter? You have to mess up with two you have to mess up with two items.
You have to rejig two items.
You have to rejig the interest rate. Okay? Now, to move from 14% to almost half of it, and if possible, at 5%. Okay? I, as a principal secretary, I am a beneficiary of a government-enabled mortgage at 5%.
Now, what sorcery is this? Because how does that happen?
Because it is an entitlement under the government scheme. But majority of Kenyans, and that's what the president was asking the other day, was saying, the MPs enjoy that. The judiciary, they enjoy that. They all enjoy employer-backed schemes. But at how much? At 5%.
5%.
So if I was to, and 5% is not a thumbsuck. Okay, it's not some number we say picky ponky, right? The 5% is a number that allows you, with your salary, to be able now to pay for that mortgage. Number two, you have got to rejig the tenure. So 10 years doesn't work. Okay? So we have then, so I'm coming from the answer now to the question.
Yeah.
Right? So the answer is that I need a solution for Kenyans to own this home, that we have now brought down the cost from 11 to 3 million. I need to give them interest rate of 5.
Yes.
I need to give them a tenure that is longer than 10. How do you do that? If I go to the banks, they'll tell you to get lost.
Yes, of course.
Okay? Because they're telling you, why must I invest in 5% when I can do nothing and just go and take treasury bonds and I get 14%? I am not a, this is people's money. And people are investing their money with us, right? So there is no way the bank can provide a mortgage at 5%.
It's not in their business
It's
to do
not
it.
in their business.
Yeah.
Okay? The banks have, and I don't want to get very technical, but they have rules, Basel rules and all those things of how much they can hold a certain asset class. And so for them to give you 10 years, it's not because they don't want to give you more, but it's because of the risk-weighted, what CBK has imposed and how long they can hold that asset. Okay? Because remember, and like I said, I don't want to get very technical. For every mortgage they give, they must park some money with the bank, with central bank.
Okay.
Okay? So, so the banks are not necessarily the solution to that. Who is the solution? It has to be government. And that what brings us to the housing fund. Because then we are saying, if you build those houses, if you ask the investor, I have given you the land, and I'm going to give you an example. If I give you the land, I give you all these promises. Please build these houses. Will the Kenyans buy those houses? They will want to buy, but the investor is going to say, these guys can't afford it.
Yes.
So about 2 months ago, we advertised 50 parcels. It was in the papers. It was in your paper here. 50 parcels of land. These parcels of land, we are offering them to investors to build houses at no cost to them. So you're not asking them to buy. Unfortunately, these parcels of land were largely in the western side of Kenya. Right? So we had a lot of parcels in Kisii, in Nyamira. We had Kehancha in Migori. We had Homa Bay. We had Bungoma. Out of 50 parcels, only 2 parcels were taken.
Why?
Because the investor who is sitting there is looking and saying, there's no way I'm investing my money in Kehancha or Karachuonyo. I'm not. But if you give me land in Nairobi, when we gave them land in Nairobi, there was a queue.
It was oversubscribed.
Over 23 of them in the queue fighting for that piece of land. Okay? Those are realities. So essentially, even if you have provided all these things as government, again, if you leave it to the market, they look and they say, I'm not going to Maral in Samburu. No, but we know there are Kenyans in Samburu.
Yeah.
And we know the Kenyans in Samburu want housing. Okay? And the constitution didn't say some Kenyans. It says all Kenyans.
Right.
So therefore, we determined that in order for us to be able now to provide those houses at those prices, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, we have got to do something that every Kenyan knows how to do.
And that is?
A national chama. It's like a national circle. Right? Because...
Dr. Hinga.
Listen to me.
You're saying, essentially, this thing which is a tax, not a tax.
It's
a
not a
fund,
tax.
not a... Okay, it's not a tax. A fund, not a fund. Now what we're saying is that it's everybody coming together in a society to put funds together so that everybody can have a house.
Correct. It's a chama. And just like any other chama, you have rules. Right? In this case, we are saying contribute 3% of your salary, but we cap it We've capped it. The highest earning person will only pay 2,500. So me as Hinga, I'll only pay 2,500
every month.
every month. 2,500 in 7 years, because context is important, is 210,000. So in other words, if I was to tell Hinga, you have the option, pay 210,000 today, you put it in the fund and forget about it, okay? Or I deduct it over a period of time. But it's only 210. Majority of Kenyans will pay 1,000 shillings. 1,000 into the fund. That is 84,000 in 7 years. So even when we talk about when there is an uproar about the housing fund and the numbers, it's not like we're bankrupting Kenyans. But why is this figure important? You know, this figure is important because when we changa together into this, it's a saving. We're saving together into this scheme, right? I can now go to the same investors that looked at me when I told them, take this land in Kehanja, in Mararal, in Karachonyo, and they basically told me to get lost. I can still go back to them and tell them, now, build those houses. Okay, I've given you the land, I've given you the taxes, I've given you the infrastructure. Now, I give them something which is called an off-take guarantee. Why? Because we are changaing money. And the collective, your 2,500, your 2,500, my 2,500, the 1,000 for Wanjiko is going to give us, plus the voluntary is going to give us 9 billion a month.
Assuming that how many people are onto this fund?
No, but remember, we have statistics. We have 3 million plus Kenyans who are formally employed. Okay? The employer is contributing and you're contributing. When you work out those numbers at 100%, plus a small portion, conservative portion of voluntary, because the people who are in the informal, the Juakali and those guys, will also contribute. Our estimate is 9 billion
9 billion
a month.
Okay.
Now, with 9 billion a month, I can start projects in every corner of this country without consideration as to what the investor is saying. Because I'll tell the investor, you build, use your money to build, okay? Hand over the keys to me. In exchange of keys, I give you the money and you go. And you don't have to worry about a Samburu girl, Sijui, a Masai, whatever, Sijui, a Kisi from, you know. You don't have to worry about those guys, right? Because we know out of this fund, because we're not borrowing, it is a saving, right? We're saving together. Now I can be able to give you, interest rate at 5%. I can give you 30 years to pay.
But people have contributed for you to build the house.
Yes.
So, but they're still going to come and take a mortgage on that house?
Exactly.
Please explain how this
So
is
let me
going
explain.
to work. Because I think that's where the uproar is from.
I know. And then I know some...
Yeah, because folks are saying, wait a minute.
Gabriel, what is
you
his name?
You guys have gotten this 9 billion and you're getting this 9 billion from us every month. We've been told that Kenyans will be able to come back and get it later. But then if I want to own a house, I still have to come and get a mortgage. But I've contributed to the scheme in the first place.
But you see,
what are the mechanics of it?
If you pay 1,000, there is no way 1,000 can get you to even for rent. Okay? But the 1,000 has enabled us to build the houses en masse.
Okay.
Okay? Because the investor, we are exiting the investor. Okay? When they finish, they give us the keys, we pay them, they go. Right? Then you, Kenyan who is in Maral, now you enter into that house. And we enter now into a contract. Now you switch. You switch from paying rent where you're paying 5,000. And I tell you, continue paying the same 5,000 into this scheme. Okay? For 30 years, the house is yours. Some of them have paid 30 years rent and they've died and they have nothing to bequeath, whatever. A lot of people, they retire. The biggest expense in retirement is rent. So you're saying, please start now, okay? Pay the 1,000. The 1,000 is pooling of money. It's like pension. You know how pension works? I'm 30 years and I'm contributing to pension, but my money is used to exit someone who is at 60.
Yes.
Okay? It's pooling of money. It's insurance. You pay insurance. Behind it, they're very complicated mechanics. But you pay a premium, all right? But if you get an accident, they pay you for the full amount.
Sure.
Okay? But your premium is not equivalent to that. Okay? It is the principle of pooling of money. So when we pool money, together, all right, people will start owning houses at different stages, at different points.
Dr. There's something I want to ask you. The vast majority of the people who live in this country are not in formal employment.
Correct.
Now, what plan do you have to accommodate such people? Because they are all involved in some grouping or the other,
Yes.
some SACCO or the other.
Correct.
And some SACCOs even have a housing component
Correct.
where people contribute to it. Some have a component for buying plots.
Yes.
How is the government tapping into this? Because these are already organized groups. Their thinking is clear.
Correct.
And they fall into the category of these rent-paying Kenyans.
Correct.
Who, in many instances, would very dearly want to own a house.
Now, that's a very fair question. So let me put it this way. I was born in an informal settlement in Nakuru. I was born in Bondeni. I lived in Kwaronda.
You grew up in Nakuru?
I grew up in Nakuru.
As did I.
So you see, we are mates now, right? So I was born in Nakuru in an informal settlement.
Yes.
My dad was a civil servant, he's late now, who was earning 6,000 shillings. Okay? My dad joined a SACCO, and we went and bought land in Bahati, part of Nakuru.
Yeah, I know about
That the scheme was called Guatanero.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Remember, it was a land buying
It was a land buying company.
The other one was called Defo.
Therefore, yes. So now I can see we can talk about our stories. Okay. So, and I want to use the story of my dad because it is a story of many Kenyans that have gone the SACCO way. So SACCOs, by the way, I must commend them. They have done more than even the other financial institutions in terms of our mortgages from banks are less than 30,000.
Yes.
But for SACCOs, they're almost 100,000. But what is the SACCO model? So my dad joined this scheme. He saved a little bit of money. They bought land collectively. Okay? You repay the loan that you took from the SACCO. And then you borrow some more money now to start building your house. Okay? You know, 9 years later, my dad passed away without ever completing that house. Okay? That is the story of many Kenyans. Because it takes you average 7 to 9 years through the SACCO model. But it is doing something, but it is too long. In our scheme, we are saying, let us bring the money together. Government provides you with the land. So you remember the first part is you save to buy the land. I'm saying you don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to do that anymore because I am giving you land
Go
for free.
straight to building the house.
Exactly. And I'm saying don't borrow the money yourself to build the house. I will tell the investor to build those houses. And they'll build them in 2 years. In 2 years' time, you'll be in your house. Not 9, if you're lucky. That is the difference. That is only happening because you have given us the ammunition. And this ammunition that we're talking about, this collective saving that we are talking about, all right,
Is your 3%.
is your 3% capped at 2,500. So I'm saying I'm not bankrupting you today, but your 2,500 is so important because collectively we're able to. Now, your second question,